Bhapa Girivarata Yashodanandana Blada Janalanjana Yashodanandana Blada Janalanjana Yamunatiravanatari Yamunatiravanatari Jayadadha Madhava Kunjabihati Jayadadha Madhava Kunjabihati Jayadadha Madhava Kunjabihati So we're in the middle of a very interesting story here in the Bhagavatam. Story about about King Yayati and his entanglement in various love affairs. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 18. Chapter is called King Yayati Regains His Youth. And we have on the board text study, I think, yes. We'll probably go a little further. No purport to this verse, but let us recite this verse together. Nohu Shaya Sutam Dattva Nahushaya Sutam Dattva Nahushaya Sutam Dattva Saha Sormisthaya Ushana Sahasamishthayushana Sahasamishtayoshana Tam Aha Rajan Samishtam Tam Aha Rajan Chamishtam Tam Aha Rajana Rajan Chamishtam Adhas Talpe Na Kahichit Adhastalpena karichit. Adhastalpena karichit. Nahushaya sutam datva. Sahasamishtayoshana. Tam aharajantamishtam. Adhastalpena karichit. Nahushaya sutam tatva mishtam. Adhastalpena karichit. Nahushaya sutam tatva. Sahasamishtayoshana. Tamaharajantamishtam. Adhastalpena karichit. Nahushaya sutam datva. Sahasamishtayoshana. Tamaharajantamishtam. Adhastalpena karichit. Any of the ladies? Nahushaya sutam tatva. Sahasamishtayoshana. Tamaharajantamishtam. Adhastalpena karichit. Nahushaya sutam tatva. Sahasamishtayoshana. Tamaharajantamishtam. Adhastalpena karichit. Nahushaya. I should ask if anybody needs French translation. I ought to ask. Il ne parle pas anglais. Que faire? Quelqu'un peut traduire? Il y a des autres? Je vais essayer de parler lente pour faciliter le traducteur. Ah oui? Vous appréciez? Continue. Nahushaya. Unto King Yayati, the descendant of Nahusha. We didn't catch that one. Okay, we break it up. Unto King Yayati, the descendant of Nahusha. Suta, his daughter, Datva, giving in marriage. Saha, with. Sharmishtaya, Sharmishta, daughter of Rishabharva, and servant of Devayani. Ushana Shukracharya. Tam, unto him, king, my dear king, never allow this girl, Sharmishta, to lie with you on your bed. So, no purport to this, but I'll just give the context, give a brief summary of Huh?
You can usually we go on next few verses till you find that.
Yeah, but just to, it's nice. Not everybody was here for the previous days, so I think it makes sense to just give a little background
Sure.
information. Shukracharya is a well-known person. Who is Shukracharya? Who knows? Yeah, you know. The spiritual master of the demons. So he had a daughter. The daughter's name was Devayani, and somehow or another, I don't remember context, but he decided to give his daughter in marriage to King Yayati. And there was one other girl who was the maidservant of Devayani. Her name was Samishta, and she followed along with Devayani, and continued to be a maidservant. If you're going to talk on the phone, you could please go completely out of the temple room, because too many things going on at once.
Okay, I can ask.
Trying to reduce the distractions. Not easy. So he gave this girl, it was arranged that she follow Devayani, and as it is said here, he warned Shukracharya. He warned that don't get any ideas. She's just a maidservant, and you should not allow her to be like a co-wife. In other words, as he's saying, to lie on with King Yayati on his bed. So there's a whole story behind this, because those of you who were here for the previous days, you know, but others, they will probably not know that there had been a quarrel between this Samishta and Devayani, the daughter of Shukracharya, which was actually the reason why she had now been forced or induced to take up the position as the maidservant of Devayani. And the story is that they were bathing. They were a whole group of young girls, and they were bathing in some river or pond, and among this group was Devayani and this other girl who is also mentioned here, Samishta. And it so happened that as they were bathing, Lord Shiva, he happened to pass by, and feeling ashamed that they were all naked, taking bath, they all hurried to put on their clothes. But in the confusion, this Samishta, she chanced to put on the dress of Devayani by accident. She didn't mean to do it, but somehow it happened. And Devayani, she was the daughter of a Brahmana, Shukracharya, and Samishta, she was the daughter of Vrishaparva, who was, I think, a Kshatriya. He was king. He was a king of sorts. So, according to etiquette, she was in an inferior position. So this Devayani appeared to be a little intolerant. She got very angry, and she harshly rebuked the Samishta. You have put on my clothes. Who do you think you are? And as Prabhupada says in one purport, it is the nature of, he actually said, I'll quote Prabhupada so that there is no, nobody can complain that I am saying. Anyway, if I can find it. Prabhupada says that it is the nature of women to quarrel at us, to fight verbally at some small provocation. Anyway, I'll not look for that. That's what he says. So they started quarreling, and that was a bit of mistake on the part of Devayani, because this Samista, she was the daughter of a Kshatriya, she was powerful. So they actually ended up fighting physically. So the Samista, she took Devayani and she just threw her into a well and left her there. And that was no fun, as you can imagine, especially since Devayani had no clothes on. She was actually naked there, down inside that well. She ended up there. It was not so nice. So anyway, it's a long story, but to make it short, King Yayati, he went out hunting a little after that, and he hunting in the forest, he felt thirsty, and he went to the same well, and he wanting to take water, and lo and behold, what did he see within in the well? A young girl, a beautiful young girl, and no clothes on. So he thought, oh, my lucky day. I guess at least he felt compassion. He was, of course, a little surprised, but naturally he helped her. He gave her his upper garment so that she could cover herself, and then he helped her to get out of the well. He reached down and picked her up. He actually gave her his hand, and of course, at least in Vedic culture, that means, we even say like that, I give you my hand. It means we are becoming husband and wife. So anyway, they fell in love, and even though it was what is it called, Anulom marriage, means it was actually not completely proper, because Yayati was a Kshatriya and Devayani was the daughter of a Brahmana, Shukracharya. So normally this is not considered a very good combination. If the woman is from an inferior social rank or caste, and that is okay. That is called pratilom. Pratilom, am I right? I'm mixing it up.
Yeah.
Pratilom, yeah. So, but this was anulom, so normally not a very good combination. But as it happened like this, that Devayani, she was in love with Yayati, and he had already seen her naked, which only the husband is supposed to do. And they was kind of, by Shukracharya, he accepted that this is the arrangement of destiny. So okay, better you get married. So he agreed. And of course, then there was the problem of this quarrel that was the cause of Devayani ending up in that predicament. They are naked within the well. Um, so he, because of this, Rishabharva, the father of this Samishta, in order to pacify Devayani and Shukracharya, who was of course quite disturbed about what she had done to Devayani, the daughter of Shukracharya, he agreed that she should become the maidservant. She should go and live with Devayani as her maidservant. So that's how it ended up that Samishta became the maidservant of Devayani. And so that's how we got to this verse which we read today. So we'll hear a little bit about how the story develops, because it's a long story and it's a lot of details, and it's very interesting, I must say. And there's, of course, as always, these stories, these are actually something that from real life, but all the everything that's in the Bhagavatam, it's not just gossip, it's not just soap opera. There's a lesson to learn. There are many lessons to learn, so we can maybe talk a little about what are the lessons to learn from this story. But first we'll read a little further. The story continues. O King, it's of course Shukadeva Goswami speaking, and he says, O King Parikshit, upon seeing Devayani with a nice son, Samishta once approached King Yayati at the appropriate time for conception. In a secluded place, she requested the king, the husband of her friend Devayani, to enable her to have a son also. So now there's trouble boiling, because Yayati has just been, not just, but at the time of his marriage with Devayani, there was a stern warning by Shukracharya: don't accept this maidservant Samishta as a co-wife. But of course, it's a little harsh for Samishta, because, naturally, when, as it is said in this verse, when she saw Devayani with a nice son, she wanted also to have a child from Yayati. So, and he, as we shall hear, he couldn't refuse. And then there was a problem. Raja Putriarchito Pache Dharmam Chaveksha Dharmavit Smaran Shukra Vachaha Kale Chishtam Eva Bhadyata. When Princess Samishta begged King Yayati for a son, the king was certainly aware of the principles of religion, and therefore he agreed to fulfill her desire. The principle of religion is that a Kshatriya, if he is approached by a woman, he cannot refuse. Other cases of this comes to memory, but that is the principle. So he although he remembered the warning of Shukracharya, he thought of this union as the desire of the Supreme, and thus he had sex with Samishta. Purport. King Yayati was completely aware of the duty of a Kshatriya. When a Kshatriya is approached by a woman, he cannot deny her. This is a religious principle. Consequently, when Dharmaraj, Yudhishthira, saw Arjuna unhappy after Arjuna returned from Dwarka, he asked whether Arjuna had refused a woman who had begged for a son. Although Maharaj Jayati remembered Shukracharya's warning, he could not refuse Samishta. He thought it wise to give her a son, and thus he had sexual intercourse with her after her menstrual period. This kind of lust is not against religious principles. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:11, Dharma virodho bhuteshu kamusmi. Sex life not contrary to the principles of religion are sanctioned by Krishna. Because Samishta, the daughter of a king, had begged Yayati for a son, the combination was not lust, but an act of religion. So what is what is it that makes it religious? Because it was not simply for sense gratification they united, but there was the purpose to beget a child, and not just any child, but it is understood that the desire was to get a nice son who was, nice son means devotee, and a son who would actually be an asset for society. And as it is also said here, that the king, he thought of this union as the desire of the Supreme. He remembered Krishna. He was very conscious that, am I doing actually, his desire was to follow the desire of Krishna. And because he felt that this must be Krishna's desire, that I have a son with this lady, therefore he agreed. So that made it a religious union, and complying with Krishna's definition in the Bhagavad Gita. So, but still he got in trouble. As life goes, this, I guess, I mean, like I said, there are many lessons one can learn. So one lesson is that even though we may be trying our best to serve Krishna and do what is right, and but the material world is such that there will still be trouble. The translation is not going so well. What to do? What is it's too difficult to follow when I say it. Should we just go on, or you want somebody else to do it for you?
So to recapitulate the essence. I'm learning just to reach you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of details. I'm sorry about this, but this is the section of Bhagavatam that we landed in. So, but back to my point is that there's always going to be trouble, no matter what you do in this world. We have to expect that. And the lesson is that we just have to tolerate and be satisfied that we are doing what we are supposed to. We shouldn't conclude that just because there is trouble, that means that we are not doing the right thing. Not necessarily so. It could be, we should also always have some, how should we say, some healthy doubt about what we are doing, not be so confident, I'm doing the right thing, and if you try to stop me, you're a demon. Well, it could be, but it could also be that Krishna wants to tell us something that, maybe it's not exactly what you're supposed, or maybe it's something you need to adjust, or whatever. This should be there. There's some reservation, it shouldn't be too confident. But we also need to be confident to act, and if we are acting according to the instruction of spiritual master, if our understanding has been confirmed by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, then we can act with confidence. We need that confidence because, as I said, no matter what we do, what we try to do in this world, it's going to be trouble. It's not going to go easy. To actually succeed in any endeavor, we need to have this confidence to go through with it despite the trouble. Just look at the life of Srila Prabhupada. Anybody else would have given up a long time ago. He got the order of his spiritual master, go and preach this message of Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking people. Why English-speaking? Because he was an educated young man. He had gone to Scottish Churches College and spoke English. At least he had learned. He didn't have much speaking practice before he came to the West, but he knew English. Because Bhaktisiddhanta, he sensed that. Apparently he understood that somehow right from their first at first sight, because that was like the first thing he told Oboy Charan, Srila Prabhupada, when he came to meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and that place there in Calcutta. So he got that order, and it was he got from his spiritual master. It was also the last instruction. Shortly before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati left the planet, Srila Prabhupada, our Prabhupada, wrote him a letter and with a request for some service, because he felt that he was war, and he was begging for, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told him exactly the same thing. You should preach this message of Godhead to the people of the English-speaking world. This will be good for you and for those who help you. So there was no doubt that this was the right thing to do for Srila Prabhupada. But how much trouble he had to face trying to do that. if you read the Lilamrita, you will see the story of Prabhupada's life is the story of nothing but trouble. It was one thing after the other. Could go on and on describing all the difficulties, all the obstacles that Prabhupada had to face to start this movement. But he never gave up. He was determined because he knew without a doubt, I am doing the right thing. And this conviction is only possible to have actually if one is surrendering to Krishna. Because otherwise, what is the right thing? In the material world, everything is covered by a fog of relativity. Everybody thinks that the right thing is what pleases my senses. This is, I'm doing the right thing because I'm the best, and I have to prove to the world I should be a success, I should enjoy. That's the right thing. But it's not the right thing. And deep in our hearts we know it's not the right thing. And therefore when things get tough and too many people, they start to question our motivation and they try to stop us, then naturally we start to doubt, and we should doubt, because this endeavor to enjoy in the material world is not the right thing. And we cannot have, therefore, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that only the devotees, they can have this yavasayatmika buddhi, this one-pointed intelligence, this fixed determination to go through with what we are doing and not give up, even despite so many obstacles. That is what makes the difference. That's also why people, the leaders in the world, or people in general, they are afraid of these religious fanatics because they have something which nobody else has. They have this determination they're convinced that they are doing the right thing, and they are ready even to lay down their lives for their cause. When a materialist, he sees this, I mean, a gross materialist, he sees, for instance, these suicide bombers. They're just bewildered. It blows their mind. What would make somebody willing to, attach a bomb to themselves and then go into a crowd and blow them? What do they gain from this? They die. What's the use? They may have, benefited or some cause that they believe in, but they die. They can't understand this. Of course, we can understand that they must have some conviction that, for one thing, there's life after death, because otherwise, why would you agree to give up your life for some cause, unless you what's in it for me? Yes, they believe, they understand that I'm not dying, my body is dying, but I will, because I died for this great cause, what they considered a great cause, I will go to the heaven of whatever faith they adhere to. So that's not maybe a good example because it's very controversial, but my point is that only somebody who is actually connected with Krishna, with Guru Parampara, can have that determination which is required to succeed in our endeavors. In a world where everything is a struggle. So anyway, Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Okay, so we stop here. Hare Krishna.